Hey guys, I'm here today. I'm gonna do, I think, a first segment. I'm probably gonna break this into multiple segments, but I'm gonna do a track breakdown. So in this one today, I'm going to go over the arrangement, and because someone, uh, brain farting on the username. Um, Sorry, I've talked to you a lot though through comments, but they asked kind of like how I go about arranging, and I'm gonna be honest. I am terrible at arranging. Like, it is my weakest point of production, and I've always found it really hard. And a lot of my old arrangements are like all over the place, but at the same time, a lot of people actually like that my older stuff was kind of all over. It was unpredictable and interesting. I think my stuff now is a little bit more predictable, I guess. But again, just like as a starter when it comes to arrangement, I mean, there are formulas and there are things you can look up and research and lay your songs out like that. But especially with like electronic music, and this kind of stuff, being experimenting with it and being different is really going to set you apart. At the same time, there's a lot of, I mean, we all know this, the market's extremely oversaturated with people writing the same cookie cutter stuff. So look at this as a guide. I just like to go over it. It might help you get a better idea on how to maybe approach arranging, and I'll kind of tell you what I do, and I've kind of made a point to get better with arranging and like the way I do it. Because I used to put it off for a long time. Now I'll kind of get some of a loop done, and I'll just start laying stuff out, and then just cutting stuff out, which I'll add things in later. So anyways, I think this first section will go over arrangement, and then later videos, maybe next week I'll do one and I'll go over like the individual sounds and how I laid them out. So for now, just in this first video, I'll actually play the whole song, and I've actually shown other stuff and other tutorials for this song. It's one of the newer ones I've done. The other videos I won't play it all the way through, so you'll probably, if you do watch the later ones, you want to come back and reference this. So I'll just do a quick playthrough of the song. Okay, so that's a song. I guess as you can see, just to start, most of my music, especially my original stuff, I kind of never keep it the same. Like I kind of have my tracks evolve. Well, I used to do that a lot more. I haven't done it a lot with my remixes recently. They kind of get more complex, but they haven't evolved into something different. With my original content, it's easier. It's a little bit harder with the remix because you're remixing something else, and usually it's kind of the same all the way through. But as you can tell, like the first section from here to here, it's different than the kind of breakdown area, and then the final part. Like basically the breakdown, I always try to keep elements in from the first section, but then put in new elements and evolve it into something different. It's just something I've kind of done from the beginning, and I like it. It's fun. I think it's an interesting concept. It allows your music to evolve. I mean, kind of look at life, you know, life, you evolve and change. So if we can open this up to where all the fun stuff is here, just wanted to play it and have you kind of see the layout. It gets a little more difficult once I open everything up. So let's see, bass. Before I forget, there's this little fun fact for you. You can't freeze tracks when they have sidechain compressors on them in Ableton Live. So a workaround for this is you just group if you only have one track, you know, you wouldn't think to group it, but so you can freeze it for CPU purposes. You just take your sidechain off of that track, you group it to itself, and you put the sidechain onto the group, and then you can freeze the track and save your CPU. So something just to know, and it might save you later down the road when your songs get more complex. Okay, so I guess the first section, I feel like the main way I write, I think it's just kind of like a standard, almost like progressive house kind of progression, because you have your short intro. Intros have gotten a lot shorter these days. They're not as long. It used to be, you know, like a minute. Now it's 30 seconds or something. I don't do very long intros. And then you kind of get into the main body section, which will change as it goes. And then you have your breakdown, where you kind of, you know, break it down, obviously. And then you have your final section. That's kind of like how I approach my arrangement, and that's basically it. Now, like I said, for me, arrangement has always been a really big struggle for me, and I would just get loops and just sit there and like almost just keep adding things and make new loops rather than just lay the thing out. Best bet for you to do is, if that's something that's not a strong point for you, after you've built a loop, just grab everything you have. Like, say we have all this stuff. Let's go down to here. We'll just do like a new one over. Oh, I can't even do that because I think I should be able to, even though it's frozen. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So we'll just say, let's do a bunch of these really quick, just as like a mini example. So, you know, just lay your loop out like that, and you come in and say this is your intro. Well, you don't want, let's see, you're probably not going to want to bring on all your percussion, so let's maybe just come in with, I don't want the bass either in the intro. I'm not ready for it yet. Let's see, what do I want? I don't want my strings yet either. I didn't have that in there either. So let's just say I don't need this yet. It's still too much. Nope, don't need that yet. All right, I think we're missing some of this stuff. Do we have that? Okay, so it's a really poor example, but you kind of get the point. Like, go in there, lay your loop out, and start like subtracting things out or putting things in, and let it play through, and just kind of listen to it. And maybe if you even need to, take notes, like on a notepad. Like, what do you like? What do you not like? Do you think it comes in too quickly? Do you need to take away more elements, or do you want to, maybe add a new element but take away some other ones? So that's kind of the best way to go about arranging, and like what's really helped me. You just don't think about it, just lay it out and just start erasing stuff, and you'll get in a nice groove where you get your song to progress nicely. Like, I think this song kind of progresses really nicely. Things come in and out at good points, and it kind of grows and develops. So for the intro for this one, which is, like I said, very short, there's no bass. I just have this sound, which just kind of plays through the whole track. So the bleeps I bring in and out in the beginning of the whole track, but then after the breakdown comes in, it stays through the remainder of the track until you kind of have you bring it down in the outro section, I guess. So I have that. I have a clap. I didn't bring any of the hats in yet. I have my little snake noise. I bring this in the second section. Not sure what this is. Yeah, I go in, I introduce my bass line, and then this layout in the first section is like a kind of almost like miniature kind of pop. You have your intro, which is very short. You introduce some new sounds, and then I kind of go into, even though it's the same, I add new elements. It's like a chorus. And then I add this new sound in the second part of the chorus, I guess, to keep the interest. Otherwise, it would kind of get boring and predictable. And then after that section, I drop out. Let's see. I drop out the hats, and that's where. So I keep this in to maintain interest, but I drop out the strings. I drop out like kind of the main sound that keeps you moving. That's gone. And then, let's see, brings the energy down. And then this part. And then I bring it back in again. And that is over like an 8-bar span, I believe. I'm kind of blind right now. Yeah, it's 8 bars. So, you have your 8 bars, and then let's see what is, and then really it's a very simple layout that I have. And then after this last kind of chorusy section right here, that's another 8 bars. I change up, rather than I bring in the strings this time, but only use a tiny bit to have them sweep up, and I actually layer them so that they kind of go and complement each other. So you go through your chorus, I drop out all of the percussion. And then we go into, I'll just start halfway through. Okay, so as you can see, I changed up the strings. It's, it didn't do that before. So it kind of breaks up the monotony again. It's not necessarily a new sound, but it's experiencing the new sound in a different way. Really a big component of, music is the sounds are interesting. You want that, but there needs to be flow and constant change, or new sounds or things taken out, so that your ear doesn't get bored of what it's hearing. It takes practice, it takes time, but you'll get better at it the more you do it. So that's kind of like my little bringing the track down, and then I go into, I guess, the breakdown of the song, where I added in new sounds, and these kind of are really what make up the rest of the song, and you kind of lose, this bass line doesn't come back anymore. This sound comes in, and then I layered a baseline version of it using Operator, but it was designed in Massive. I actually was messing around and watching a video with Funkagenda for Future Music, and it's where I got this sound from. He just made the sound with this multi-band compressor from Ableton, which I'll put a link in the video that will send you to it if you want to learn how to make this. I think I did something different. I'll get into that maybe in a later video. I think he leaves his, but I actually put an LFO on the reverb, but reverse it, so when it hits, it turns down, but when it's off, the reverb goes up, so it makes this kind of whooshing sound. I've done that before with other stuff. Again, I'll go into that in another video, but really all it does through this track is, this is kind of what makes the rest of the song. The progressions in this are, the track kind of makes you always want more, but it doesn't really ever explode. It just really drives well, but it doesn't, it just doesn't fully give it blow up, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it, because I really like how the progressions are. They're very drawn out. And this is obviously pretty dead mousy stuff. But really all it does is, you know, filter builds and bringing it down. I usually have it long and drawn out, and then I have these other sections, and I kind of build it up on the sections that have more progressions. And I bring the filter down on the section. This whole section, it's the same notes, and it kind of keeps you moving. But and then right here, we should probably go look at the rest of the breakdown first. I also added another new sound here. Let's see. I think it's the same. It's just strings, but I kind of complement a lot of the other stuff. So. And then a new addition in the breakdown is I had a little bit of delay on it, but that's when I start really playing with it. And that's what kind of moves it to this sound and keeps it more interesting to the rest of the songs. Before, it didn't have the fluttering, where this fluttering actually makes it a lot more interesting throughout the progressions of the song. Without like those flutters, it would not be interesting. Honestly, I think it would sound like crap. So, and again, a lot of this stuff that I do, most things that you do that are pretty cool, or like, is usually by accident, or you're just in a flow state, you're not even thinking about it. Most of the time when I'm thinking and trying to do stuff, I can't do anything. When I let go and just like go space out is usually when I come up with most of the stuff and like the layouts and everything. So as I said before, you have your section where you break it down. You go into your breakdown now, which is about, is this where it starts? So I think I go about 8 or 16 bars. Then I bring in the rest of the percussion. And now when this drops in, I don't bring it in like you want to, you know, a lot of times they bring it in and it's just, you know, okay, here we go, let's fist pump, or, you know, whatever, it's the high point. I brought it back in and I didn't have that. I bring in kind of the tension and energy 8 bars later. So just to hear it one more time, it kind of drops in out of the breakdown. So basically, this sound is what really pushes and drives the song. When I first bring it back in, it's all the same note. It's filtered down really low, and then it's playing. It has a nice groove and it's driving. But then I bring in the strings is kind of what really pushes it, and then on top of it, that's when I start putting the chord progressions back in. And not only that, I'm building the filter up over this whole 16 bar section. So this whole 16 bar section is growing and building, and then I bring the filter back down again, and I do keep the strings in, but I get rid of the I leave the bleeps there for another 8 bars. Leave all the drums in there. But basically I bring the filter back down on this pretty quickly. This section doesn't progress as much as this one does. It kind of just like pushes really subtly. And then I get rid of the bleeps here for the last section, and then I allow this to kind of be the forefront, and I put the progression section back in again where it filters up. And then boom, filter falls back down. All the percussion except for the clap and the kick come out. It releases, and it got the release. I mean, music is really about building tension, releasing, building tension, releasing. So like that's what we're doing. We're taking things out, putting things in, filtering sounds up and down. That helps a lot. So also one other thing I was going to say earlier, I kind of got sidetracked. Like I said, this bass line doesn't come back in. So what I did is I built this with the massive, and then I just used the operator and did like a bass, which I bring up. It doesn't start off as loud. Like you can't actually hear it, but it filters up to bring in the low end. And that's really all it is layered with this. Without this sound, the song's pretty hollow. So that kind of makes up for this video. I hope this helps. Again, arrangement is probably really tough to, I feel like, to teach unless you're just going by formal verse, chorus. But even then, like, that's the thing for me, that it just didn't click. Like I just had to keep doing it and trying my own weird ways of going about things till I kind of built my own way. So like, don't get discouraged, and again, just go do it. And who cares if it doesn't sound like your typical producer's layout? It might actually be more interesting. As long as you do it right and your music's good, people are going to enjoy it. So don't stress about so much with the arrangement. Just keep doing it, and maybe think critically, but try to let go at the same time while you're doing it. If you have any questions or I don't know, really anything, I'm not really again, this is kind of a tough topic for me to even talk about, but I figured I would do it because I did have some people ask about it, and maybe it'll make a little more sense to you. I hope this did help. So again, I hope this video was good and you learned something, and it gave you a little more confidence in trying to arrange your own work. And probably next week, I think I'll go maybe over some of the sounds individually, maybe, or some of the sections, not sure, or maybe not. Let me know if you want me to, if it's something that might be interesting to you. And if not, I'll just move on to something else. So again, thanks for watching, and have a good night.